Hi there, this is David and welcome to the 2021 JRPG Awards. This has been quite the year for JRPGs. Some good, some bad, and some ugly. So here, we're not only going to be counting down the top 5 JRPGs of the year, but also doling out 5 special rewards as well. So all told, we'll be going over 10 different games. So let's put on our award show best and get ready to hand out some golden trophies and ridiculous raspberries. And first up, we're going to get started with the award for the biggest shock, going to Actraiser Renaissance.
The original Actraiser on the SNES was one of my favorite games growing up. It was just so unique. So when Nintendo literally announced it out of nowhere, it was just such a surprise. This is a complete remaster with added content of the original SNES classic from 30 years ago. I was stoked. And since this is loosely related to the Heaven and Earth quadrilogy, hopefully this means more remakes in the future. You play as an angel in this action RPG meets sim game, and it's your job to help the people of the world by assisting them in building their towns and clearing monster layers in a side-scrolling manner. As much fun as this was on the SNES, it's only so much better on the Switch.
And the award for biggest disappointment goes to Cristales.
Gosh, remember the hype around this game? Everyone was going on about it like it was going to be the next Chrono Trigger. But let me tell you, time travel in a JRPG does not make a game Chrono Trigger. Not by a long shot. Then they were going on about the character designs, the architectural inspirations, and the color schemes. Well, this should come as a warning to not get caught up in the hype, because what we actually received was a complete dumpster fire. To quote Dracula himself, "What is a Cristales? A miserable pile of loading times." There was loading for everything. Tons of unfair, never-ending random battles, and then everything just looked the same. I mean, normally I like turquoise, but even this gay knows when it's too much.
Now, the award for biggest what the fuck goes to Voice of Cards.
Go home, Square. You're drunk. Just what were they thinking? I get experimenting, but this is ridiculous. As a connoisseur of card games myself, having played Magic the Gathering back whenever I was in high school in 1996, I know all about these types of games, but this just does not work. Keep them separate. It didn't work with Arcana back on the SNES, and it doesn't work here either. I've never seen a more generic, brown, boring, and slow game in my entire life. Remember whenever I made those videos about the top 10 most boring JRPGs? Well, we didn't have this narrator. He can cure insomnia in about 2 seconds.
The award for best fan translation goes to Final Fantasy VI T Edition.
Truth be told, at first I was going to speak about Suikoden, Woven Web of the Centuries. However, that game's just okay. And it doesn't hold a candle to Final Fantasy VI, and I'm a sucker for games that I grew up with, so I couldn't not mention this new T Edition hack, which was developed in Japan, but then translated into English recently. It takes everything that was great about the original game and just amps it up a notch. There's new music, quests, scenarios, rebalanced characters, costumes, a bit more difficulty, and even a new Game Plus mode added on with a second patch. There's just so much here, and I can't say enough about how ecstatic I am to play one of my favorite games of all time with a new coat of paint.
And now, the award for my personal worst take of the year goes to the entire Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster series.
When the Pixel Remasters were first announced, I made a video where I essentially said that they were lazy cash grabs and only an idiot would buy them. Well, you're looking at an idiot right now then. Mea culpa. But let me tell ya, I've actually had a really good time with them, though they're not all created equal. The first is ridiculously easy, while the second has massive bugs making it super hard. And the third is easily the definitive version, with rebalanced jobs. It takes the best of the NES and 3D versions and then melds them into something special. The fourth does seem a little bit easier, and the fifth is just a tad bit harder. Say what you will about Square Enix and their remakes, but these are a hell of a lot better than I thought that they would ever be.
And now, we're going to get into my top 5 best games of 2021, beginning with the award for Best Indie Game going to Eastward.
Whenever I think of action RPGs, the first one that always comes to mind is Secret of Mana. I guess you just can't help what you grew up on. And while Eastward is no Secret of Mana, it's still a bunch of fun. Taking inspiration from Zelda and Terranigma, you control Jean and Sam as they make their way upward, and then eastward, throughout this fun, lively, and enjoyable world. They both have two entirely different playstyles, making for lots of variety, and the puzzles are simply stellar. Now, a lot of indie games can have their issues, but the only real issue that I found was long dialogue sequences. So if that's the only downside, you know that this is a diamond in the rough.
And now number 4, Bravely Default 2, released for the Switch and PC.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I would suck a dick for a good job class system. So Square Enix, form up a line and unzip your pants because it is your turn. Final Fantasy V is one of my favorite games of all time simply because of its replay value. So, whenever 4 Heroes of Light came out and then ushered in the Bravely Default series, I was ecstatic. They were all relegated to the portables, however. Now the series has graduated to home consoles and it's just superb. You follow 4 Light Warriors as they make their way through 4 different elemental-themed regions of the world, save the crystals, and get job classes in the process. And while the boss fights can be a bit brutal, the rest of the gameplay makes up for it in spades.
Number 3 goes to Shin Megami Tensei 5, released for the Switch.
This is undoubtedly the most recent game on our list, and to be quite honest, I'm still making my way through it and enjoying every moment of it. However, I can say without a doubt that the game belongs up here. I am a fan of games that allow you to play the game, not games that hold you hostage with never-ending dialogue sequences. SMT is just that. You run around, explore ruined Tokyo, fight and fuse demons. You create miracles, find treasure, and beat up extraordinarily difficult bosses. You really do get a sense of accomplishment each time you overcome the next hurdle, and I love that. There's a reason why SMT began on the NES and has stood the test of time.
And number 2 goes to Ys 9, Monstrum Nox, released for the PS4, PC, and Switch.
I've been a fan of the Ys series for over 3 decades now. While Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and SMT are the great granddaddies of the turn-based RPGs, the Ys series is the great granddaddy of the action RPGs. Starring Adol and his one true love Dogi, or adventure, our red-headed hero finds himself trapped in a prison city, arrested, and then further sequestered as he tries to make his way out superhero style, using acquired gifts from the party members who help him. These allow him to soar through the skies, climb up walls, use X-ray vision, and teleport around. This is not just hack and slash, this is everything I ever dreamed an action RPG to be.
And number 1, our award for the best game of 2021 goes to Tales of Arise, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC.
The Tales series is my second favorite series of all time, only following the Dragon Quest series. I think what I like most about both of them is that you know what you're going to get whenever you purchase the game. It's not like Final Fantasy where they all change from one to the next. There's something to be said for quiet, stable dignity, and that's what the Tales series has. The games are always beautiful and take place in fantastical worlds chock full of skits, humor, and great characters. And while I didn't like a lot of the complications and changes that were implemented in Zestiria and Berseria, Arise is a return to form, where everything is simplified and streamlined. The graphics and music also got a huge upgrade, and they got rid of a lot of annoying anime tropes, and they kind of adultified the entire experience. I adored my time with this game, and that is why it is my Game of the Year.
Well, that's it for my Games of the Year awards. What do you think of how each game placed? Did I miss any? And what awards would you give some games that came out this year? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and wanted to hear on the channel, please consider supporting me over on Patreon, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, or joining the Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them all can be found in the video description. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I truly do wish everyone a happy and healthy 2022. And have a good day.